Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Steve, you're such a ladies' man.
He knows. That's great.
Okay, it's good to see everybody. Welcome back. I have a couple things at the top. I know it's been a while since we've done this, so please bear with me. So I want to begin by discussing the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl, which President Biden just addressed directly. This already deadly storm was upgraded to a Category 5 storm as it heads towards Jamaica. The president has been briefed on Hurricane Beryl, and our administration is in close touch with territory and local officials. USAID and FEMA has resources and supplies pre-staged in the region with staff and partners ready to assist. We urge residents to stay vigilant and heed the warnings of local officials. You heard that from the president as well. Next, I want to express our disappointment in yesterday's district ruling, which blocked our temporary pause on pending approvals of liquefied natural gas exports. While congressional Republicans and their allies continue to deny the very existence of climate change, President Biden is committed to combating the climate crisis with every resource available. That is why we will continue taking action to transition to a clean energy future and reduce emissions, creating good, paying, clean energy jobs, and bolster resilience to the impacts of extreme weather. I'll now turn to sharing how we are delivering for American workers and lowering costs for them. Yesterday, the Biden-Harris administration began expanding overtime protections to millions of American workers. The Department of Labor's overtime rule extended overtime protections to 1 million workers making less than $43,888 a year. And next year, it will extend protections to another 3 million workers by increasing the overtime threshold to $58,656. That means higher paychecks or more time with family for millions of workers. While elected Republicans side with big corporations and special interests to try to deny workers these protections, President Biden is fighting for families. As a record Americans travel for the 4th of July, President Biden is taking action to lower gas prices. Today, we announced the sale of 1 million barrels of gasoline, which will lower gas prices, particularly in Northeast states such as Maine, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. While President Biden has unleashed record energy production, including affordable clean energy, congressional Republicans are siding with big oil to give out tax cuts while keeping prices high for families. Now this week, the president and his administration is marking the 60th anniversary of President Johnson signing the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This landmark legislation prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, and serves as the legacy of generations of courageous and extraordinary Americans who fought to fulfill the promise of our nation. Despite this critical step forward, securing our civil rights remains the unfinished fight of our time. That's why President Biden is fighting actively to protect the civil rights of every American. He signed a landmark executive order to protect voting rights and continues to urge Congress to pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and Freedom to Vote Act. President Biden appointed Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman to be on the Supreme Court, and has appointed more black women to the federal appellate court than every other president in history combined. He's also creating opportunities for every American to thrive, investing historic amounts into HBCUs, and changing our country's failed approach to marijuana, which disproportionately impacts communities of color. You'll continue to hear more from this administration to mark this major anniversary. And finally, thank you for your patience. And finally, we have a few schedule updates, so wanted to share the following with all of you. This week, the president will speak with Hill leaders and Democratic governors. He will travel to Wisconsin on Friday. He will conduct a sit-down interview with George Stephanopoulos from ABC News while on the campaign trail. He will travel to Philadelphia on Sunday. And next week, I know you guys are going to be really excited about this. He will host a press conference during NATO. This is in addition to the previously announced events this week, and I will be happy to take your questions. All right, Colleen, go for it.
Thanks, Karine. So there are growing calls from Democrats, including members of Congress, for the president to step aside for the 2024 election because he's not capable of serving another 4 years. What is his response to this?
So let me just step back for a minute and I guess deal with the questions that have come in about the debate. And honestly, this is something that the president has addressed himself multiple times since this past Thursday. And first of all, I want to say we understand the concerns. We get it. The president did not have a great night, as you all know, and many of you reached out during the debate. The president had a cold. He had a hoarse voice. You all heard it. That's why you reached out. But I will say this, and the president said this over the past couple of days, certainly right after the debate. He knows how to do the job. And he knows how to do the job, not because he says it, because his record proves it. Because for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, the president's record has been unprecedented, delivering for the American people. Another thing that he said that I would add is he knows right from wrong. He knows how to tell the truth. And again, he knows how to deliver for the American people. Joe Biden is a person. Take away his title. He is someone who has dealt with tragedy. He is someone who has confronted that head on. He is someone who knows how to get back up once you've been knocked down. That is something that he understands very, very well. And I think, and we believe, that's something that many of Americans across the country understand as well. And he knows how to come back. He knows how to come back. And so the president's going to continue to focus on what he's been doing the past 3.5 years. He's going to continue to focus on the American people. And, to your question, just to add a little bit more to your question, look, you heard from Speaker Pelosi, you heard from Representative Clyburn, and let me just paraphrase a little bit of what they said. Speaker Pelosi, who's very close to the president, said it is not about performance in terms of a debate. It's about performance in a presidency. And this is a president, you've heard me say this, we've talked about this. He's been able to give us an economic recovery, the strongest economic recovery in modern history. Let's not forget, during the midterms of 2022, many people, many of you all, some of you in this room, said that it was going to be a red wave, and that didn't happen. He defeated Big Pharma. We have seen historic low in crime in more than down to 50-year low. And then you had Representative Clyburn, who said the president has done a great job leading for the last 3.5 years. The best predictor of future behavior is past performance. This is from Clyburn. And when you look at the record of President Biden versus former President Trump, you see President Biden, who has delivered the strongest recovery in modern history, versus the previous administration, whose plans hurts the middle class. And President Biden, who is committed to protecting our fundamental freedoms, versus the former president, the previous administration, doing everything that they could, and they did, to overturn Roe v. Wade. And they are responsible for that. And that's coming from two people who are not just leaders in Congress, but also close to the president.